Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So I posted this TikTok a few hours ago and I've gotten some questions about studying medicine outside the US and I thought I could just make a YouTube video. So yeah, this TikTok, I've gotten 50 something questions so far, so I'm gonna try to answer as much as I can. I can also make another video about my story or my background or my journey if you want. But yeah, anyway, so I go to school in the US. I go to BU, Boston University, and I applied to medical schools in Ireland. I didn't apply in the US, but I applied to medical schools in Ireland and I got accepted to UCD, University College Dublin, School of Medicine, and I'm going this September. So yeah, now let's talk about the questions. Let's see which one I want to answer first. Okay, the most liked question is, if you go to med school outside of the US, is it possible to go back to the US to work? Yes, it is possible, 100%. You can get your medical degree wherever you want and you can apply to residency programs in the US as an IMG. I do have to say it's harder to match into a residency as a IMG, but some schools offer resources for students who want to go back to the US. It also depends on the specialty, so a lot of specialties are not as IMG friendly and a lot of specialties are IMG friendly. So for example, dermatology, it's very competitive and it's not really IMG friendly, but other specialties such as internal medicine, family medicine, they are less competitive or more IMG friendly. I believe the overall IMG match rate was 60%, so it's not too bad. And if you go to the right school, so for example the school I'm going to, we had a match rate of 92% last year in the US, so yeah, it's not too bad. Know what specialties you're interested in, and if you're interested in top competitive specialties, then maybe not study medicine abroad, but anything's possible. Okay, so next question. Do you have a video of the entire process of going from an American college to an international college? So yes, I can only talk about Ireland because I only applied to Ireland, but it is pretty similar to the process in the US. So you submit your resume, your personal statement, your GPA, whatever, and then MCAT. And some schools require interviews. Most schools require interviews, I should say, or half of them. There's only 7 programs in Ireland. I think 4 or 5 of them require interviews. You also need recommendation letters, of course. There are undergrad programs, they're 6 years, and depending on your education, they also have 5-year programs. They also have 4-year programs for people who already have a MCAT score. So yeah, you need an MCAT score, and I assume you need to take some pre-med classes. You need to have taken some pre-med classes to be able to be considered for the 4-year gen programs. I took the MCAT in September, which is why I didn't apply in the US. I started my application in October, I believe, and I finished it, I submitted it January 1st. So yeah, and I heard back from my first school in February. I think it was February, beginning of February, and then I was scheduled for an interview 2 weeks after. Interviews are actually a lot less intense than interviews in the US. I think we kind of just talked really casually for like 15-ish minutes, and the interviewer, who's also the dean of international student at the school, just told me, your application looks good, we'll be sending you an offer and we hope to see you in Dublin. So yeah, that was my application process. Let's see, what if I wanted to go to a med school in London? Do you think it would be the same process? No, it wouldn't be the same process. Medical programs in the UK, as far as I know, they're mostly undergrad programs. So if you want to apply, you have to apply as an undergrad. The problem with a lot of these international programs is that they're tailored for practicing in that country. So if you go to the UK, if you go to Australia, whatever country you want to go to, their programs are tailored for practicing in that country after you graduate. It wouldn't be the same process. And then if you want, you can go to those programs, but if you want to go back to the US, you have to match into a residency program, which is harder if you're not provided with the resources, the studying resources, if you have to study it on your own. And yeah, that's why it's hard. Did you do your internship at the United Nations? Yes, I did. I interned at a UN agency. I can talk about it in a separate video, or maybe in my journey to medical school in Ireland. But yeah, do you know any info on med school in Australia? So yeah, I've already answered that. I said I know it's doable and a few schools take international students. That's true. There are a few medical schools in Australia that take international students. I heard it's great if you want to practice in Australia, but they don't really help you go back to your own country or wherever you want to practice. What was your pre-med program? That's another question about me. What was your major? My major was human physiology. Okay, next question that's not about me. Is it easier to get into medical school in different countries? Every American medical school has a starting GPA of 3.7 above. So yes and no. It is harder for two reasons. First, usually you have to be a citizen of the country to apply to medical school. And then second, most countries start their medical education from undergrad. As someone who graduated from college already, who spent 4 years taking pre-med classes, you have to start over. And obviously a lot of countries, you have to speak their languages, so you're limited to only English speaking countries. And also those medical schools who do take international students, they usually only have limited amount of seats or spots. So for my school, we have around 20 to 30 North American students in each class. I know one school in Ireland has like 80 or 90 North Americans, but usually it's around 20 to 30. And most of them are Canadians. So if we're talking about US students or students coming from the US, there's only usually like 5 every year. So yeah, but I heard the application is more holistic in Ireland or other countries. Actually, I don't know about other countries, but in Ireland. So they look at your GPA, but they also look at your resume, your essay, your letters of recommendations. Some schools do have a starting GPA. So for example, I think my school requires 3.3 if I'm not wrong, and then other schools have 3.0 requirement. My school also had a MCAT requirement of 503, and then some other schools also have different requirements. There are still a lot of students applying to these international programs, specifically Irish medical programs. There's a lot of North Americans applying actually. It is still hard, it is still competitive, but it's not as intense as the medical school application process in the US. Next question. Okay, these questions are great. So someone asked if I wanted to apply to medical school in the UK or Ireland, what would you say is the difference in the application process? I don't know about UK. I think the UK is completely different. Ireland, it's kind of similar. It's not exactly the same. It's more relaxed, but you still need this stuff to get in. Okay. And then also, if you don't mind sharing, what would you say was your most important experience or advice you'd give someone who's considering applying outside the US? Okay, the most important advice, if you're considering applying to medical schools in other countries, I think it's important to know other people who are also applying. It's important to have that support system and to be able to talk to other people. Just because there's not a lot of information on this, not a lot of people have done this, not a lot of people have shared their stories. So it's kind of nice to be in a group. I didn't really have that, or I don't know anyone in real life who's going through the same process, but I found this group on Students Doctor Network, I think. I'm not really active on there. We talk about stats, we talked about schools, and it's just nice to kind of have people to talk to, and we talk about going to Ireland and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a great resource. I think another important thing is to be able to connect with a current student to learn from their perspectives. Some people have really bad experience. I mean, one person that I know of had bad experience. Other people have really great experience. You can just kind of talk to them and to be able to mentally prepare yourself for the next 4 to 6 years. If you don't have that support system, if you don't know anyone who's also applying, reach out to your advisor, your person in charge, reach out to them. There's not a lot of people going through the same route, but that's what I'm here for. You can talk to me, I can share my experience. I'll be the person who shares her experience, so you can have all the info you need. So yeah, that's all the questions I'm gonna answer for today. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them down below in the comments. I'll read them, I'll answer your questions, or maybe I'll make a part 2. And yeah, like I said, I can talk about my story, my background, my journey, whatever. And make sure you follow me on TikTok, because I post my journey to medicine all the time. So yeah, make sure you follow me on my TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. Ask more questions. I love answering your questions. I love answering your questions. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.